Valentine's flowers are always a little bit more expensive, and they are. They're genuinely more expensive this time of year because, that's business. Mm-hmm. So to make it a little easier, anybody that mentions the podcast and place an order will get a 10% discount.
Perfect.
This is the Buffalo Community Podcast, all about the greatest small town in the USA, the people in it, and how it all works together. Here are your hosts, Tyler Reiss and Mark Benzer.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Another great episode of the Buffalo Community Podcast. Have with us today Greta Roberts.
Hello.
From Be Strong Blossoms.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming in. If you haven't heard of Be Strong Blossoms is...
I consider myself a flower boutique or flower studio, as I am currently working out of my home. But it seems to be going quite well, even though I'm, taking over my house. My family loves it.
Yeah.
I was like, we're going to get to that. Let's see.
Yeah.
You have some not volunteer people, voluntold people, like, I need you over here, move here, get this stuff. So
my husband just said, I'm just so grateful you didn't take up welding.
Yeah, see, there's always,
Yeah.
the bright side.
Yeah.
The silver lining.
Yep.
Yeah. So Be Strong Blossoms.
Yep.
B as in bee.
Yeah.
That's not a good bee noise.
I'd go with
that's
zzz.
terrible.
I'd go with zzz.
Yeah, that's a terrible.
Yeah.
That's a terrible bee noise.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't do it justice.
That's all right.
Do it better next time.
Yeah. So, tell us a little bit about the background,
Okay.
probably the name. It's a unique name.
It is.
And then kind of how you got started and.
Oh, that's loaded. So, if I'm going to take us way back, I'll try and keep it pretty condensed.
Let's start at the beginning.
Get in the DeLorean.
Yeah, get in the DeLorean.
This takes us back to the 70s, boys. No, I'm just kidding. It actually really does. I think part of it, I come from a really talented family, artistic. I have an aunt that's an artist. My mom was she worked part-time as a florist. I have an aunt that's was a home ec teacher, and they're just incredibly talented. So when I was growing up, after school, I'd used to go to my mom's place of work, and she worked at a flower shop. And I think that's really where the interest, started. She would work on her arrangements, and I would sit next to her, and I would take out of the garbage all of her discarded, flowers that didn't
make the cut.
Yeah, and so I'd sit there. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
I sit there and make my own little arrangements, and that just that was just kind of a fun thing to do. And then as I got older, became an adult, I started really getting into gardening. I still am into gardening, and I make all my own salsa and dill pickles, and I grow everything for all the ingredients. And so that love of just flowers and gardening has always been there. Well, okay, so I had to get a real job, and eventually after I graduated college, I got that real job.
Boring.
Geez.
Sorry.
Beyond.
Keep going.
No, it was
Keep
beyond
going.
boring. It was just not a good place for me, and I did it for 25 years, and I wasn't happy, but just
Who is?
Yeah,
right.
I know.
In your head, anyway.
I am now.
You're supposed to hate your job, right? No.
Yeah. So let's see. In late, October, November of 2020, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and you kind of see where maybe the name's coming from here soon. But at that point, early 2021, I started surgeries and chemo and radiation, and this was also during a pandemic. And the field of work that I was in was in purchasing for a manufacturing company, and I was literally hooked up to chemo and trying to get, information on where the boat is coming in from China, and just I couldn't get anything. Or if I could, it was 3 times the price, and it was just so much pressure. And it wasn't until this past March that I just kind of threw in the towel. I just thought, I've done my job. I've worked really, really hard. And my husband had been encouraging me for a very long time. Just quit. Just take a break. And I was like, but what do I do? And he's like, you're not going to know what you want to do if you're busy doing something you don't like. You're just not going to be in a place of being inspired. And so he was right. As soon as I quit my job, I'm like, well, I have some free time. I'm going to check something off my bucket list. And that was I went back to school for floristry. So I started attending Kohler and Dram Institute of Floristry. I still go to school there. My intention is to become fully certified, learning a ton, having a blast. And by this summer, I started just kind of putting together some arrangements, and I'd put a picture out, and I'd have a friend say, hey, will you make one for me? And that progressed and progressed, and, I got a little bit more advanced with my schooling, and all of a sudden, I was getting orders from people who saw an arrangement from one of my friends, and then another person who saw an arrangement from a friend of a friend, and my network just kind of started to expand. And so I decided I should probably kind of start to make this official. So it really kind of started falling in place faster than I was maybe ready for. The Be Strong Blossoms comes from while I was going through my cancer treatments, I had a really sweet friend that sent me a baseball cap, and it had a bumblebee and it said strong. And that just really resonated with me. It was a good reminder, of what I need to do and what I have done. And, we were kicking around some ideas for a name, and that one just kind of popped in my head. And it doesn't necessarily flow off the lips, but it's really meaningful to me and a reminder of where I've come from and where this is going to go. Yeah.
It's a great story.
First, health okay now?
So as of January 8th of this year, I am 2 years cancer-free.
Awesome.
Yep.
That's good.
Yep.
Good. Thank you to doctors and your courage. So thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, with tons of community support too.
Yeah.
And that's part of what I do in the town. I love Buffalo. I love the community that I've been in for the last 20 some years. They've been so good to me through some really tough times in my life, and that doesn't go unnoticed.
Mm-hmm. I have a couple of questions about the flower arrangements.
Okay.
One, I was going to sneak in a joke there, is you were taking the trash pedals and everything,
Yeah.
and you just sell those to ex-girlfriends.
Yeah.
So that was my first joke. I didn't think it was any good.
Those are people actually do it. They do the black roses
Sure.
or the completely dead roses. It's just terrible.
Classy.
Yeah.
Thanks for nothing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't recommend that.
No.
Just let it go.
But you're making these arrangements now. Where are you getting the flowers?
I do a lot of driving. So I purchase them from a couple different wholesalers in Minneapolis. It's actually Kohler and Dram is where I go to school, and so that's where I do a lot of my purchasing. And it was, like I said, a lot of driving because, as you know, flowers are perishable. And so it was tough because, just this morning I got a request for an order and they want it this afternoon. So, to just say, okay, I can't necessarily always keep flowers on hand because, they're perishable. Well, just this month, I got a cooler, which is kind of a really big deal for a florist getting their first cooler, and that is a life changer. I can take that order today now because
Awesome.
I not only have flowers, but I have an arrangement ready to go. So
Sure.
Yeah, makes a big difference.
I was kind of hoping, again, you're going to get this it's kind of a sense of humor, is you've already cut all, because you said you like gardening.
Yeah.
You've already cut all your own flowers.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, by the dark of night, you're in all your neighbors' gardens, cutting all these.
Yeah.
You're like, gosh, Greta's really putting a lot of nice arrangements together. We have roses just like that.
Well-
Had roses just like
Yeah,
So-
you're not far off, although I do have amazing neighbors, and I ask, and they always say yes.
Yeah.
And actually, I've had a couple of neighbors now that have offered up their garden space
Oh, nice.
to, allow me to do more cut flowers in the summer. Otherwise, I'm part of a CSA in past Annandale, west on 55.
Yeah.
There's a CSA that I have a half share in, so I can go and pick just tons of wildflowers and that kind of thing.
Okay.
So it's really different, the arrangements that are going out in the summer versus, on one hand, you're a bit limited, but at the same time, these warehouses they're bringing in, cuts from all over the world. So it's just a different feel, different style, and I love them both. They're fun.
What's your favorite flower to work with?
Oh, to work with. That's a really good question. There's so many.
145 episodes, finally got one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great question.
It is a good question. It's really hard for me because, like I said, there's so many fun ones that come out. There's one that's called Kangaroo Paws that literally looks like paws of a kangaroo. It's not necessarily, the prettiest of blooms, but it's just really funky. I like so just a little bit more about me and my style. As much as I can, I love to go out of the box. FTD florist has their place and everything, but that's absolutely not me. I love to work really with unique blossoms and different design styles. And I've gotten really good feedback on that. So
yeah. But
I'll tell you probably one of my favorite flowers, and it's part of my logo, and that is Lily of the Valley. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it smells amazing. It's just this tiny, I think I can relate to it because it's this tiny little bloom that has the most intense fragrance. You would never expect that out of something so tiny and delicate. And so when I was growing up, we had that growing in our yard. And I remember one year my mom, I grew up in North Dakota. So the fact that one year she was able to...
Anything other than corn and soybeans that's fantastic.
It's pretty.
You didn't have trees.
No, we really didn't. No, it's true. But we had this Lily of the Valley growing, and my birthday's early May, and we had like a balmy spring, I guess, because it normally, comes later in May. And so she had had enough to put on my birthday cake. And it's just, I don't know, I've had this association with it for a long time. I love it.
Yeah. Very fun.
Yeah.
You kind of beat me to my next question, but you grew up in North Dakota.
I did.
And I guess if we go even further back than maybe the beginning of your flower story, getting from North Dakota to Buffalo, what was that? What's that story?
So I grew up, born and raised in Wapaton, North Dakota.
I've been lost there before.
I'm sorry. No.
We turned around.
It was, you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, you made it out. I made it out too. It was a great place to grow up. Really good community. But when I was 18, I was ready to go. And I actually ended up out at the University of Utah and got my degree there. My life has taken quite a shift because initially I went there to study modern dance. I grew up dancing and had intentions of becoming a professional dancer. And so I attended the U, and I was there for about a month and up in the mountains, and I was in a pretty bad car accident. And that was the end of my dancing.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, that was another recovery I went through, several years in physical therapy, and so ended up still finishing at the U, getting a degree in health education. Never worked a day in the field besides my internships,
Sure.
but there's a lot of people that can say that.
Yeah.
And then, having family out this way, I have a brother out in Connecticut, but otherwise all my family is kind of in this area. And I had met my husband when I was going to the U. We're coming up on our 25th wedding anniversary. Nice. He was an only child. We would come back here in the summer. I was deceiving him of what, it was like in the Midwest.
Right.
But he loved it. He loved being around my family and doing the whole lake thing. And so he really wanted to move back here. And I'd been away for 12 years. Mm-hmm. And so I thought, well, we talked about maybe wanting to start a family. And so decided, to come back this direction. And we would meet up with my sister who lives in Delano to go to the lake, and we would drive through Buffalo. And Brett, my husband Brett, we both thought, what a charming little place with the lakes and the downtown, and just ended up moving here.
Yeah.
And it actually works out well because we have a lake home in the sort of Fergus Falls area. And so being on this end of town rather than like out in Stillwater just made sense. And having my sister here and, other relatives around Plymouth and that kind of thing.
That's not the first time on the podcast that somebody's described Buffalo like that.
Really?
A charming little town.
Yeah.
I remember we had a guest that actually went to Crown College.
Oh.
And it's actually Luke. And he kind of described the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just you drive through it and you're like, oh, that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for all 250,000 of our viewers that are maybe not in Buffalo, it's take a drive by. You know, take a drive through, stop.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
You might move here.
Yeah.
I mean, I did. And what is happening right now with downtown Buffalo is so exciting. It's just, it's great to see that.
Yeah. We're really excited to be in downtown now. We're currently in Outdo Work Studios. Actually, it's Buffalo Community Podcast Studios in Outdo Work. But they've taken this building and completely changed it. With Natural Roots, completely changed it. So, I mean, like downtown, one, thanks for being a part of the community. I know we're not talking about your business, but yes, you're exactly right. What a fun community to be a part of. The people, just the vibe is buzzing.
Yeah, nice.
More, thank you.
What you did there.
Thank you. Number 2 today.
Yeah.
But it's fantastic. So, you said you worked out of your house. How do people get a hold of you?
Well, I'm working on trying to get a website up and going, but really social media it's a good thing. It's working for me. So I just started a Be Strong Blossoms Facebook page, and it's just grown from there. And so they'll contact me by Facebook or text. I throw out business cards every possible chance I can get, and the orders are just coming in that way, and I deliver. Sometimes I have people pick up from my home. But for the most part, I deliver, and not just in Buffalo. I go out, as far as I need to, I guess, within reason.
Yeah, right. And what's I guess looking into your crystal ball, I guess. What do you see? What are your visions for Be Strong Blossoms a year from now, 5 years from now?
It's changed a bit, but right now I'm really liking what I'm doing. In a perfect world, I'd love, as I had mentioned earlier before we got started, I would love to have the perfect she shed because I like so much to be home and working out of my home. And, if I could do that, that'd be great. Just to have some more space and to not have to. My husband's a really good cook, and so we don't have to fight over, the kitchen sink. And I've taken over, the dining room and at the office, and oftentimes the kitchen. And but for now, I just want to grow the business, so I have, consistent orders because it's kind of up and down. January was pretty quiet, which is expected. December was really, really busy, and now it's starting to pick up, obviously, with Valentine's Day coming.
Crap. Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
It's not too late.
Yeah.
So if I can get more consistent orders, that would be helpful because then, it's just easier to buy in bulk and, more bang for your buck that way. Just to watch it grow, continue to grow it, and that's
very fun.
I think it's, I think the name, the Be Strong Blossoms, I think it's fitting. I can understand through your ups and downs and what you've been through. I think it's a great name. I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit, but I guess for somebody who maybe is stuck in a job or maybe going through a hard time, like any advice for our listeners as far as what you've learned and where you are? So,
I do have advice, actually. I really literally have gone through it. I've had a couple, obviously, with the cancer, scary things happen in life that really makes you sort of reevaluate. In 2015, I broke my neck. And
careful walking out of here, please.
Yes. No, that was jumping on a trampoline with my son. The trampoline was a week old, and it was gone by the time I got home from the hospital. So
time out.
Yep.
This is exactly why we're not getting a trampoline, Jenny and kids.
You have no idea
Thank
how
you.
many children's lives I've ruined because my friends or neighbors are like, no, you know what happened to Greta?
This is perfect. Yeah, make this the hook, Luke.
Yeah.
I'm going to loop this for the kids. Sorry.
Yeah. So that was quite a recovery. I was immobile for 4 months, just completely, so that was an experience, obviously, and fortunately, I've made a full recovery from that, and going through cancer, and there's long-term treatments that go along with that. So it's still something I'm going through, but really, what it boils down to, and it's so cliche, life is short, and I'm a very pragmatic person. I'm not one to take chances. I don't like change. And my husband really supported all those things that were not comfortable for me. And as a result, now I look back and I go, my only regret is that I didn't do it sooner. I was unhappy for a long time in a job, very, not rewarding, not respected or appreciated. And now I'm so happy, and life is so different. And, I have 2 boys, a 19-year-old and a 16-year-old, and they see it. I even had my 16-year-old post on Instagram for the 1st of January. This was the coolest thing. He said, for New Year's, he said, not much new for me in the past year, but my mom inspired me and quit her job, opened a new business, and he put a picture of my new cooler on his Instagram page, and just that really struck me because it made me realize that I'm impacting my kids and my family and showing them something that I hope they will take with them, going forward in their future. So I would just say, just don't be afraid. Obviously, try and put a plan in place. Yeah. But just do it.
Yeah.
To
Just
coin a
do it.
phrase.
Yes.
Just do it.
Just do
do
it.
it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Get that to the patent department.
Yeah, I'm sure. That's not been
fly
used.
through.
has it?
Yeah, no, it'll fly through.
Oh, okay.
It'll be great.
What a fun story. What a cool story. And like to hear that from your son posting that.
Yeah.
Because social media is pretty special for youth these days.
Yeah.
And then for him to take that time to do that. Is he your favorite son?
You know what? My boys, they could not be more different.
Yeah.
And I think it's like the firstborn and the youngest and that whole thing. But no, they couldn't be more different. They're both super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what is interesting? My younger son, he's pretty outgoing, and I'm old school Facebook, and I do Instagram. I'm not very active on it, and so finally I got Be Strong Blossoms up on Instagram. And my 16-year-old Charlie ended up liking it, and he got all of his friends to like it, which happened to be a bunch of 16-year-old boys. Yeah. So now I have all these 16-year-old boys liking my flowers. Yeah. But what's cool is now they're reaching out and saying, hey, I want to give my girlfriend flowers for Valentine's Day. Can you help me out? So,
very fun.
Yeah.
What a cool story. I like that. Very fun.
Yeah.
I think it's very inspiring. Thank you for coming in.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it. And we'll put a link to your Facebook pages.
Oh, awesome.
If the privacies are set correctly, because I know sometimes, but we'll reach out
let me know.
when this airs.
And I will say, Valentine's flowers are always a little bit more expensive, and they are. They're genuinely more expensive this time of year because, that's business. Mm-hmm. So to make it a little easier, anybody that mentions the podcast and place an order will get a 10% discount.
Perfect.
Just get your order in by February 10th, which I think is next Thursday.
Next Thursday.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, so you still have time.
You will be the next one that we upload then.
Yeah.
So perfect.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Nice.
That's a perfect way to
awesome.
Put some urgency to it, and then you get to jump to the front of the line.
Yeah.
Very good. So really appreciate it, Greta. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
For the Buffalo Community Podcast, I'm Tyler Reiss.
I am Mark Benzer.
I'm Greta Roberts.
Nailed that.
Thanks for listening to the Buffalo Community Podcast, produced by Edlund Media. You can find us on Facebook and YouTube, as well as anywhere you listen to podcasts.